Okay, it's working? Hopefully. Hi, you don't know me, but it seems to me like this is gonna become a habit of me just like streaming at random times, saving it onto YouTube, and just using it as an excuse to yap. Today I really just want to talk about the recent problems that I've had to just motivate myself to do anything. Like it seems like Minecraft is comfortable. Minecraft is easy to get going. But no, in real life, that's been a challenge, a big challenge to like get to do anything, get to like confront the reality of my life at the moment. It just feels hard, if not impossible. And I've always had like a weird relationship with motivation. Like it's never been something that I really understood, especially how it's written about and talked about in like human resources and industrial psychology and such. It's like I just really don't get it. That part of my brain just does not connect. And it's weird because right now it's like what could motivate you given the thing given like our current work situation, for example, for people for Gen Z people especially. It feels like not a lot. It really does. Um, and I get that a lot of that has to do with like symptoms of depression and such, but I don't know. It also just doesn't make sense to me, and it pretty much never has. For as much as I try to understand, like like seminars and different strategies to like try to get to motivate yourself, it just feels like there's nothing there. Like I've often said, the only reason why I keep going in the things that interest me is largely out of spite. Like I study because I find what I'm studying interesting, and then it's like, oh, what are you gonna do in terms of a job? Where do you want to work? And it's like, I'll be honest, work in general just seems like a miserable thing, especially for our generation, where it's like benefits. You won't have benefits. What will you be able to buy? Nothing. You'll be poor. And it's like, okay, but at least I'll have like my rights and universal health care. Nope. Mm-mm. You'll have nothing and you'll work till you die. And guess what? When you wanna retire, you're not gonna get to retire because some politician's gonna decide that that's an unnecessary expenditure. Bye bye pension. So it's just really informed my attitude towards work in general, which isn't really healthy. I understand. Like, it's not as simple as I made it seem with that Doom Posty rant, but like, it feels like that to the extent where it really affects my whole perception of motivation in general, especially in terms of monetary incentives. Though I've never found monetary incentives to be really convincing in most cases. It's just like, oh yeah, we'll pay you, yes, and there's a bunch of other people that would pay me for all sorts of other things. What is the motivation for me staying here, doing things here now for you in this context? It's like oftentimes it's just the amount compared to everyone else in the market, but who's to say that the market shouldn't be better, that there shouldn't be more competitive offers? And I don't know. Like, besides the doom posty nature of it, I just am not a very motivated person in general. So I can't say I really understand it. Forming habits is also like a huge challenge for me. Even when it comes to like streaming or posting online, like I've tried it several times, but it's just a question of like that part of my brain just doesn't connect. Like I don't it really is just like incredibly difficult for me to motivate myself to do anything. I could blame it on systemic factors all I want, but ultimately it's just kind of a thing with me. I have to find some other way of like getting that push. It's not like I always am just this unmotivated person that walks from like A to B and doesn't do much, but generally speaking, it's just like I'm not, you know, a go-getter in any sort of sense of the word. I wouldn't say that that's super bad tampoco. But it makes for really weird interactions, especially with people who don't really get that sort of mentality, especially family members and such, but and I don't struggle with focus necessarily. Well, not remarkably more than other people I know, but like motivation's always the sticking point. Oh, whoopsie. I'm dropping torches like crazy. I wonder if there's a lot of people like that, like me per se, because I know that the motivation can be weird. Like a lot of people find motivational speakers, particularly to be like a weird thing and a very grifty thing. I'm very much inclined to agree. But even in the case of like, you know, programs that are meant to like motivate people to do this or that, it's like a lot of times they focus on like giving people reasons to do something, but at the end of the day the person can have like a billion reasons to do something and they could still not do it. Not necessarily because they're maliciously avoiding doing it, but because you know, there's just something that doesn't click. There's also the different kinds of motivation, like extrinsic, intrinsic motivation, and how that affects things. Oftentimes companies struggle with this just because it's like to how can we make our mission seem legitimate and like that we actually, you know, believe in what we're doing. Because it's like employees that genuinely believe in the institution tend to be more productive, more satisfied, feel like their work actually means something. That could also be used to like manipulate employees. It's not all like sun and rainbows, but it is something to think about. Like a lot of times, especially like you see it in nonprofits or fan creations or like video game makers. It's like if the person really believes in the product, or if the person's really like just loves the product for whatever reason, they're very much inclined to give like 110%. Which again, it's something that companies can definitely abuse. That's definitely what happens most of the time in the video game industry, but it can also be a really valuable thing, and a very oh my god, I don't know how to translate the word. Is that it's something that makes people have solidarity. I don't know how to conjugate that, but whatever. Okay, you know, it's something that makes people be like, oh yeah, we're in this together. We're striving towards this united goal, and I feel motivated because it's not just me who's like invested. We're all invested. Again, that's really easy to take and then to use against the employee's best interests. Like, even nonprofits have this in spades. It's like, oh, but it's a nonprofit. Oh, but we're doing good. Oh, but we're doing... And then they use that on top of the consideration of like, oh, we have such limited resources because we're not actually making a profit from this. To just go to people and to... Working honestly is just extremely demanding jobs. Or to just never fulfill promises. That's also something that happens a lot with nonprofits. And then it's like, it doesn't really mean that you don't have a consumer when you're working with a nonprofit. There's plenty of them that have like an end consumer. And then how is that client taking into consideration, you know, what is their experience with the company? How does that negatively or positively impact the things that you're trying to do for whatever cause it is that the nonprofit is wrapped up in? I think I should make the gates the same height. Like, I'm contemplating whether or not to make these shorter. Since they're on the side, they'll be on the sides of the roof. Like, right now, this is gonna be a barn. And I want to style it like a monitor barn. It really is the case when you could twist even like the best of intentions to be like completely evil very easily. It's like, generally speaking, you want people to be motivated to do their jobs. You want them to be invested into the company, but that also like has a dark side to it, like everything else. It just really requires you to have good intentions, which is difficult because you never want something to rely purely on someone's intentions. Like, there should be some sort of control to that, you know? Because if you're purely relying on a person's intentions, then it's very easy for like, well, in the future when that position changes, for someone not to have the best intentions and suddenly for people to suffer because of it. I just need more payload. It's often what happens with CEOs. I mean, like, Nintendo is a great example of that. It's like, while Iwata was alive, you could say a lot of positive things about Nintendo, but nowadays it's just like, I don't know, the company feels horrible in general. Like, they don't care about it. They're not part of the community that they're selling to. They're just corpos. Which, I mean, for a time that sentiment was brewing, but it got so much worse with his death. It was like, there's no genuine care. Like, it very much felt like, you know, Reggie, Iwata, like a lot of that old guard genuinely cared about what they were making because they had experiences tied to this. You know, they genuinely wanted to see a good product come out and something cool to be achieved. But nowadays it just feels like, yep, well, it's another company that's working purely off of their monetary incentive. You know, there's not anything special from Nintendo anymore. No, like, crazy risk, no, like, you know, none of that famous quote energy, like the whole, like, a delayed game will be eventually good, but a rush game will be always bad. I guess, you know, the ecosystem of DLC for everything. Don't finish the game, just launch it however it is and finish it afterwards. Kind of ruined that. Which isn't to say that it's always bad. Like, Hades 2 and Hades are great examples of games that had their pre-release, and the pre-release is definitely a pre-release. That game's not done, but it's still a fun experience, and you can see how the developers really care in making it a good game. But it's just difficult to say that about most devs nowadays, especially the AAA space. Even then, there's still hope. FromSoft has been consistently, like, a great company to follow that, you know, puts out complete products, and then their DLCs are huge expansions on them. Like, they don't skimp out on the features or the playtime, which is nice. It's always really good to see, like, even big studios put in a solid effort for the people that really enjoy their games. It'd be really funny if I forgot to turn on the music again like last time. Yeah, I had to turn on the AC. It's way too fucking hot here. Problems with living in a tropical island. For as much as I would love to be one of them people who just, you know, chills without AC because the environment or whatever. Hey, Puerto Rico's hot as balls. It's just like, it's too much. And also my one AC is one thing, like, I wish I didn't need it, but, you know, millionaires want to get to space, and that's so much more important. speaking about space, Jump Ship is a game that I'm really excited to see, like, where it goes. Like, I played the beta with one of my friends and it was very fun. I know that right now a lot of like multiplayer focused games that are on the simpler side like get a lot of flack for being like what was the word? Like they call it friend slop or whatever the fuck. Which like that's hilarious because I don't really agree with the sentiment. I think that they're good games overall. Like stuff like Repo and such. But yeah, it doesn't cater to like a really complicated or like a really like try-hardish nature. Some do. Phasmophobia has it. They're like, you know, super gifted players that divine what the monster is in mere seconds. But there's also definitely a lot of them that are just, you know, simpler, cool games that were made by indie devs that just wanted to make a simple, cool game. And that's great, you know. A lot of times, you know, the hardcore gamers get into the room and they want to just, you know, crap on everyone's fun, but they're games, you know. At the end of the day, they're made for like people to enjoy and have fun with. Not everything has to be like a sweaty COD like or anything like that. Do I want that or do I want to make it like this? I really like that actually. You know, coming from somebody that doesn't really enjoy COD at all, it's always really funny, like, when you get these, like, hardcore gamers that just, like, I don't know, FIFA or something like that. And then, like, I can at least respect, like, the you know, COD Zombies fans, because there's some redeeming qualities to it. But it's just, it's really not my game. And I like other shooters, but, it's just always funny to me, like, they'll get in a pissing contest a lot of times, like, about, like, oh, that's not a real game, or whatever the fuck, and it's just, like, it doesn't really matter. It's a good game. It was made with, like, attention to detail and a lot of love for it. There's definitely slop that shouldn't be, like, I wouldn't say that every game's a real game. I wouldn't go, like, the Brian David Gilbert route of, like, super extremists, like, you're a gamer. But, I also wouldn't like to discredit games that are made with, like, a lot of genuine love, even though they're, like, simpler. I would, however, discredit plenty of the back alley AI slop that's, you know, festering in Steam nowadays. Or in, like, app stores, like, there's just, you know, AI slop, shovelware everywhere. It's a little despair-inducing. Like, a lot of, like, the lack of motivation that I tend to have these days is just because of how things have been going when it comes to, like, AI in general. And it also just annoys me that it's even that term that gets tossed around that's like artificial intelligence, when it's really just like it's a statistical model. It's making approximations. Like, You could have whatever discourse that you want about like how it's like intelligent or whatever, but it doesn't really think, it's just brute forcing problems. Which has its use, like God, are there a lot of people that try to use the uses that it can have to justify the abuses that it has done. But it's just it's not really a good argument to have, period. Like, you have to be a little realistic about it. Like, it's just like, especially when it comes to art, it's like there's no, not only is there no necessity or justification for it, but it's just the way that it's been implemented and forced on people's throats. It's so unjust. There's also the capacity for misinformation, which, I mean, has existed for a really long time. Like, there are people that are wizards with Photoshop, but at least that requires a skill set. It's not as, like, frequent and all-consuming as, like, it is now with, like, AI just everywhere. If anything, one of the things that gives me hope is that a lot of these models are kind of collapsing in on themselves. Like, they've fed off each other's slop for long enough where it's really showing on the end product. But, you know, it remains to be seen what really happens in that. Again, I'm very averse to just doom posting, but it's just really easy nowadays, you know? A lot of the more moderate talking points that I could use so I could just, you know, talk yourself off the edge, so to speak, are just not applicable anymore. Oh wow, again, the music having this most dramatic, amazing timing of getting really grim once I did. But yeah, no, it just feels really despair-inducing in a lot of regards, but I just hope that things get better. You know, it does really help that people are doing a lot of great work, even with, like, everything. I'm liking this. This is coming along nicely. I need to add a little bit on the other side. It's off. Of course, when I don't have my sword out. Oh, and when I also lag, and then immediately get another one of these. Oh, that always reminds me of that one dude that lost his hardcore save because of a baby zombie. That was sad, dude. Such a long time working on something to die to one of the most BS-like mobs in the game. At least the creeper has some, you know, notoriety to it. You know, some pizzazz. You got blown up by something, but, like... Then to a tiny little thing that just has anger issues, horrifying. Should really go to sleep. I'm gonna be dealing with zombies way too long unless I do this. I don't know. Like, okay, returning to the whole AI conversation, right? Like, more broadly speaking, I feel like just ethics as a topic, a lot of people just give it like this, I don't know, like a lot of people just perceive it as boring. Where it's like, I could describe it as a lot of things, like, I wouldn't consider boring. I guess it's just like ethics professors being bad at like stirring up interest in it. But a lot of these issues, it's like, you know, if people had a bit more understanding about ethics in general, at least they wouldn't feel like such a slog to go through, especially when you're on the internet. It's like people pick up on, like, you know, fair use doctrine and stuff like that, and then they just run with it. And it's like, that's not what that's for, but okay. It's like how to describe to a person that doesn't really have a creative ounce in their body that taking inspiration is one thing, but amassing a bunch of images and using a program to randomly, like, collage them through, like, a... Oh my god, what is it called? Oh my god, I forgot what it's called. It's a type of filter, whatever. Like amassing them through a filter and creating this ungodly amalgamation, how that's not, like, fair use and wouldn't really apply. But again, lawmakers not interested in actually being just or serving their demographics, they're just kind of there for the money. I like this. This barn's looking nice. I was talking to one of the other people in the server and he was commenting on how he had to clear a crap ton of trees. We're kind of in the same boat, and that he's in the middle of a forest. They're good places to start off with, not a lot of terraforming that you need. This is kind of a weird case. Of just me wanting like a nice field here. But yeah, definitely lots of chopping down trees. Won't really struggle with wood for, at least for crafting, for quite a while. Do really need to watch out to not break my shovel because I keep digging without really checking up on it. Oh, at least it has mending. famous last words before I end up breaking it unceremoniously and have to do the whole mending grind again. Oh, at least somebody else in the server already has a mending villager. I just have to get the emeralds, which is why I have so many potatoes and beetroots planted. We haven't done the zombification thing, but honestly, it gives me the heebie-jeebies. I always fear of killing the villager by accident. There has to be a bunch of tutorials and stuff about it. I'm trying to think, because part of the reason why I wanted it to be like this particular layout is because I want this to like lead out into a fenced in area on both sides, and just have the cattle, like have it be half cows, half sheep, and then I'll make a chicken coop somewhere else. But like you can make a nice little small chicken coop. A little ways away. Thinking. Mayday, we're sinking. Hello, this is a German Coast Guard. What are you thinking about? God, I've watched too much Corrales. It's just infected me with that. It's so fun. Like, it's a nice, just very comforting time whenever you're watching Corrales videos. It's kind of a shame that he just doesn't upload as much, but it's understandable, you know. Wife, family life, other things. Also, the generally just focusing on other video games at the moment. But, you know, I have a lot of nostalgia for, especially like his old building tutorials and such. And also just the modded, like, Hermitcraft stuff, también. There's recently like a whole thing with Hermitcraft too. It's with like the guy that got the SA allegations. Which is always a difficult situation. I don't envy anyone right now in like the Hermitcraft server, or like managing the whole situation. Just because even in the cases of like, okay, like a lot of times it'll be the situation of like, we have these rumors, they're very grim, they're very serious, we have to take them like at face value, but also you have to be fair because that, you know, they could always be, you know, false. There's been cases of that. It's just that most of the time that they're credible. It's a very difficult thing to go through, especially when you think that, you know, you can trust someone, even if they're like a work colleague, right? You still want to think that you're working with decent people. But, you know, that could also always turn out to not be the case. Like, I hope everything gets resolved. And, like, there aren't any, like, long-lasting issues that plague them. They all seem like very neat people. Of course, with the that statement doesn't really extend to the person accused. They've been really shady about this whole situation, but you know, even still, all we can hope for is that, like, things pan out for the best. I might not even use this for cows, I might just use it for horses, but I would need horses to begin with. I don't know if there are any close to my base. I know that now you can craft saddles and stuff, which is nice, but hello, Zambi. You shouldn't be here. There's a witch nearby, it seems. These are all wood types, like, minus the pale oak, I guess, because it's new. Of course, I haven't worked with as much, but these are, like, jungle and birch are not really wood types that I normally do anything with. It's nice to, you know, find a use for it, especially since birch is so abundant here, and pale oak is just really easy to get. Oh, oopsie. Oh wow, upgraded to iron armor, did we? Jeez. Whoa. I'll put it on, whatever. I'm confident in my feeling about this. Oh, I like that. It looks nice. Looks very nice. Make it daytime again. Really like these shaders. These shaders are the photon shaders. They're just absolutely gorgeous. Ooh, don't fall through. God, with Distant Horizons and everything, it just makes this whole like experience very immersive, which is weird to say about, you know, block game. But it really is that, like, this is a good lesson for, like, again, AAA studios, as if they'll ever learn anything. But that immersiveness doesn't really go along, like, it isn't the same thing as realism. Like, Minecraft is super immersive, like, when you really get into the zone and when you have these moments of, like, wow, this is really nice. And, you know, it's literally block game. Like, it's not realistic by any stretch of the imagination. But it still really hooks you. You know? And it does so for people of all different ages and demographics. Like, it's not necessarily a strange thing to just find a random person that really likes Minecraft in some capacity. And really get hooked on this game. Which is like a weird thing, like circling back to motivation. It's, you know, motivation for Minecraft comes and goes. That's where the 2-week Minecraft phase like thing comes from, but it's always just feels very right and very fun to just revisit it. There's no, oh god, I missed my dailies for so long, or oh no, I'm so behind. It's just, it's Minecraft. It's always there. You can always enjoy it. Of course, that changes in different contexts. Like, there's plenty of people that, like, in SMP servers and such, might feel a little pressured to keep up. But, it definitely doesn't have to be like that. Like, you can just enjoy your time here. It's especially apparent, like, going from, like, at some of the other games that I play are like gachas, and they have, like, their own meta and stuff, like HSR. Oh god, the discussion around the meta on HSR is always, titillating. But, you know, even ones with, like, vastly friendlier meta like CCC. It's just the thing of like, oh, keep up with your dailies. And of course CCC makes that exceptionally easy, but even then it's just nice to have pretty much the opposite of a FOMO in in this game experience. Which, like, I mean, it lends credence to this game's longevity. It's just incredibly comfortable game, and a game that you can mold towards your own preferences. I mean, personally, if I had the patience to actually look for a good server hosting site that could, like, stand up to a decent amount of mods, then I would probably not have gone with Realms, and I would instead be playing on, like, a modded thing with friends. But also, you know, a good amount of my friends would rather not mod the stuffings out of Minecraft. So, you know, we just vanilla enjoyers, I guess, at the moment at least. Eventually we'll do something modded wise. I really want to get into Create again, because that mod is amazing. And just the level of detail and how everything feels very, like, true to Minecraft. It just makes for a really, really solid gameplay experience. So I think I lost my only jungle sapling that was growing because I must have locked out while the leaves were still despawning, and since those trees never want to drop any saplings, I probably have to venture out to the jungle that's over there at some other point. I'll cross that bridge when I get to it, I guess. Almost went that entire time without messing up. Sag. Ah, that's really nice. I need to look at my inspiration pictures again just to glance at like there was a little like part at the front that I wanted to do that's like above the entryway. But yeah, that's coming together really nicely. Wait a minute. There's evil afoot. Did I get a pillager spawning underneath that? Yep, I think I did. They spawned underneath this terraform bit. Oh god. Okay, let me just make it daytime. Rainbow. I really do wish that Mojang would make a concerted effort of like making not necessarily seasons as in like having like, you know, biomes completely shift or whatever, but making it so that at least weather patterns have sort of like a logic to them. You know, you could go through a rainy season in your server, or you could go through like a significant dry spell. Like, that'd be fun. That'd be cool. There's probably a mod for that. There's mods for all sorts of things. Yeah, there's evil afoot. Evil. 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 Where the hell are they? Again, of course I need to be accosted by a zombie and skeleton while I'm at it. And there's the villager. Okay. Sometimes I question, like, why would it kill? I guess they took damage somehow. But how long has these guys been under here? There you go. Eat shit. Come on, dude. Peek. Did you drop another crossbow? No, they did not. I don't think the crossbows have like a crafting recipe, which is unfortunate. Like, I quite like that they added them to the game. I just don't like not having infinity on things. I think that they should have like balanced it out so that like bows you have to select one or the other because they're just really strong. But crossbows have like a lot of inherent weaknesses, so it'd be nice if they like allowed you to have both infinity and mending. But that's just me. I don't like the whole like really grindy aspect to Minecraft. I like slowly working towards things, sure. But like if I had to constantly go back to make new tools, I would. I historically have not lasted long in previous worlds because of that. I just really don't enjoy having to constantly repair or remake weapons, especially since anvils don't function as you would like them to. Like, I get people's arguments about, like, why mending is, you know, overly centralizing for the game. And it makes a lot of things, like, less valuable than they otherwise will, like, like diamonds and such, but, I don't know. I also really don't enjoy having to constantly regrind these things when they inevitably break. Should I go up one more block? I need to venture out for jungle wood. I should do that. Put away all my building materials for this particular build. Never really had shulkers in any of the times that I've played Minecraft. I really want them, but it's just kind of a thing where we never get around to it. or as was the case in my last world, the nether spawn was just so atrocious. That like not a single city spawned anywhere close. Like I never took a peek through Chunk Base or anything like that at that world. But it just felt like it was, you know, you could go ages and ages and ages and wouldn't see anything. And of course I would love, like, in that case, to make an actual farm for the shulker boxes, because they're very easy to duplicate, but that would require minecart shenanigans, I guess. Okay. Guess it's time to explore. Last time I was just here placing dirt, and this time I've just been working at a barn. But this time I get to show off a little bit of the rest of this place. Oh, that's freaky. Loading terrain. Okay. Ta-da! This is our nether. Very nice. There's a bunch of signs indicating where you need to go for the different people's bases. If anything, next time that I'm streaming, I'll actually go to different people's bases and such, but I know that some of them are currently working on stuff, so I'd rather wait until they finish up and then go exploring to different places. That or do it whenever I'm introducing my streamer friend to this world. If they ever decide to connect, that is. Jesus. Okay. Here we go to the creeper farm. That flashing, I'm concerned about that flashing. I don't like it, especially for it to be on a YouTube video. Oh, that's crazy. I hadn't looked there with DH on. Oh, that's cool as fuck. I love Distant Horizon so much. It's gotta be one of my favorite visual mods. Like, I think that the only thing that outright beats it out is just shaders, because I love shaders. Okay, there's the Dark Oak. And over there's the jungle, okay. Very rudimentary way of getting over to the biomes around this neck of the woods is just to TP to this farm and then yeet. Whee! I didn't bring a boat. Alright, I should get some kelp now that I think about it. Let's pick up some kelp. In the future, if I want to make an aquarium, then I'll get some, like, fishies and such. I wish that Mojang... Okay, Mojang has this philosophy within Minecraft of, like, one block at a time or whatever. And I find it... Like, I guess it's well-intentioned. Like, I can't say that it's a horrifyingly bad idea. But it's just a very limiting concept in general in developing this world, especially since, again, I said I don't enjoy the really, really grindy aspects of Minecraft. I'd much rather the game be a little bit more, you know, streamlined than a lot of these things. But it's just the thing of, like, Mojang has it... where it's just like, oh, nope, no vanilla alternative to Vein Miner or anything like that. No, that's not in the cards. Not for you. And, like, I get it. You don't want to make it so that there's necessarily, like, a huge, like, invalidation of the more, like, traditional aspects of Minecraft. Like, cool, dude. But also, like, it gets really annoying to have to deal with some of these things. And I would like to be able to clear out areas more efficiently. Like, even TNT is kind of disappointing just because of how, like, certain materials just resist it so much. I should probably climb up with the vines and then dig down from the top. But yeah, I'm not a fan of that. I'm not a fan of the whole one block at a time. Like, especially because, like, I would like more cool transportation alternatives. I really like the trains in Create and shit like that. At least they've loosened up a bit. You know, you have the auto crafters now in the game. But even then, the implementation is really clunky and limiting. Part of the fun of that, like, I'm not as angry at that just because part of the fun of that is just working around those limits. God, jungle trees just really never drop their saplings, huh? The majority of the trees that I felled here have been jungle trees, and yet I have more oak saplings than jungle saplings. I really wonder what the sense is with this. You know, what logic are we having here that leads you to just make this that annoying to deal with? Like, I'm gonna end up deforesting quite a lot of this jungle just to get a good amount of saplings, because I can't even be like assured that I'm able to duplicate them, because I went home with 8 of those fuckers, and then just like the first 2 trees that I planted, neither of them dropped like barely any saplings. Like they dropped 3 in between the 2 of them. So sleep bags, that's another thing. I wish that they would add sleeping bags to here. Just something to sleep without resetting your spawn point. I like the sound of those little bushes. The ones with the fireflies, they're very atmospheric. Like I'm Puerto Rican, so like something that I find very like homey and comforting is just the sound of cookies. Like I get the tourists don't like them, but well, I don't like tourists, so I guess that balances out. But like they're just such a comforting little creature. They have such a musical little chirp that they just constantly do, and especially around my house in certain seasons, especially when it gets very rainy out. There's just a chorus of them. There's like a crap ton of them, and they're pretty loud. Like they're tiny little things, but they project, and they're just incredibly soothing. They're like something that thankfully all of the gentrification and colonization here still hasn't managed to ruin. Even though, again, there's the case of the, tourists here trying to poison them. It's, oh, they don't let me sleep. Dude, you can go to another country like that at that point. Just, like, visit somewhere else. There's plenty of places with good beaches. That it's part of the Puerto Rico package. Like, it's like those other people that went to live in Mexico and then complained how there's people playing Mexican music in Mexico, like typical, like traditional Mexican music, and it's like you're in Mexico, plus you're in a province that's particularly well known for like that style of music. Like, enjoy it. Like, it's really good music. I really don't understand that logic. It's like if you wanted America, just go somewhere in the States. There's plenty of nice places in the States. It's like going to Germany and complaining how there's only good bread. Or like, oh my god, we went to Canada for the winter and it was snowing. It's like, no shit, really? I know there's a parrot there. Like, but those things are very frail, and I'm afraid of getting one and having it die, so I think I'll just leave it there. Oh my god, I've gotten 20 oak saplings. And still only have 8 of the jungle ones. Mojang, please. And like the whole leaf breaking thing is a myth, by the way. Like it's the same probability if I break it with this as if I just like let it decay now. Did I crash? Oh no! Oh, it crashed! No! Well, I guess that's as good of a place to leave off as any. Guess I'll pick up